Welcome to Structure and Teach. My name is Janna Vandervelden, and I'm excited to dive into the process of goal planning and implementation in needs-based mentoring. As previously covered, needs-based mentoring consists of 5 elements: engage, assess, advocate, structure, and teach. In this module, we will be looking more closely at structure and teach. About structure, I will first discuss the transition from engage into structure. Next, I will present bubble sheets as one tool you may use to focus the discussion and goal planning process you conduct with your mentee. I will also demonstrate how to plan your mentorship sessions to ensure they are being conducted with a focus or goal in mind. Lastly, I will go over the SMART goal setting process. In the teach element, I will be introducing an evidence-based method for teaching skills, known as behavioral skills training. Finally, this module will cover how to ensure that the skills mentees learn with you in mentorship really do get used out there in the mentee's real world. Let's get started. After spending a few sessions on the engage component with the mentee, you will probably have gotten to know them a bit, and you may have an idea about what their goals and priorities are in mentorship. As a teacher, you may be feeling antsy to get to the teaching part of mentorship and make the impact both you and your mentee want to see. When looking to make that transition from engage into sessions that require some more active participation from the mentee, it is important to keep in mind that this may be a delicate process, and you don't want to jeopardize the relationship you've worked so hard to build by moving too quickly into doing too much. In keeping with our spirit of motivational interviewing, we want to make sure we are supporting the mentee's autonomy throughout the mentorship process, not just at the beginning. Doing this will maximize the mentee's willingness to participate in the change process and prevent any breakdowns in rapport. On the other hand, overtly asking the mentee, "Are you ready to work on this now?" may come across as too pushy and have the opposite effect. When considering whether to structure up your time together, first, evaluate the rapport you have built with the mentee so far. Are they showing signs of readiness? These may be: you know you have positive rapport with them based on their body language, an overall comfortable or amicable vibe to the session, and conversation that flows instead of forced or one-word responses from the mentee. The mentee willingly participates in the session. They show up, they reply to questions, or they ask their own. The mentee has articulated their own goals and interests in your conversation so far. The mentee is aware of what it will take to meet their goals. This is an important one. They should be in favor of the process, not just the outcome. For example, they may want to pass all of their classes this year and avoid doing summer school, but they may not yet realize they will have to sacrifice some of their free time to catch up on their assignments. Jumping ahead to the planning stage before they are fully aware of what it will take to meet their goals could discourage them from following through. Lastly, the mentee is using language in favor of change, which is what we refer to in motivational interviewing as change talk. This may sound like, "I'd really like to work on it. I'd be able to do it if that happened. I need to do it because of this." If you're seeing some or most of these signs of readiness for structure in your mentee, you can start to transition the conversation towards working on goals by testing the waters. This is an MI technique for asking if they're ready, but doing so in a way that continues to demonstrate your respect for their autonomy. Some examples of ways you can test the waters include: now that we've discussed, and then summarize your discussion, where would you like to go from here? What do you think we should do about this? How would you like to proceed? Or what are you thinking should happen now? Now, say you've tested the waters with your mentee and they've responded by showing you some of those signs of readiness for change. Great work. You've gotten the green light to transition into more structured session activities. But don't forget that the spirit of MI runs throughout the mentoring process in NBM, not just at the beginning. Within that spirit, you want to ensure that you're demonstrating to your mentee that you continuously respect their autonomy. One strategy for supporting autonomy as you move into structure is the use of bubble sheets. In MI, this is a way of visually representing what the mentee's options are for how to move forward together, while also holding space for other ideas they may have. This leaves your question of where to go from here open-ended, which is part of your OR skills and demonstrates to them that the choice is theirs. To make an individualized bubble sheet, you would first list each possibility in a circle, either handwritten or on a piece of paper, or digitally prepared as you see here, including a circle for other ideas. Ensure that what you write in each circle is stated in age-appropriate language, so it is approachable and understandable to them. For example, instead of building emotional regulation skills, as we would say as educators, you could reword the general objective to managing strong feelings. Then you would present it to your mentee and get their thoughts. Here is an example of a bubble sheet prepared for a hypothetical mentee. We've built rapport, completed our needs assessment, tested the waters, and observed those indicators that they are ready for change. We've now sketched out a few general objectives for mentorship, including going to class more, finding good friends, remembering what I have to do, preventing getting into trouble, managing strong feelings, and other. Notice that these options are all in age-appropriate language. We're not using our educational jargon like increasing attendance, connecting with positive influences, or self-management skills. The wording we use should be understandable and approachable to the mentee. When presenting the bubble sheet to the mentee, we may introduce it to them with language such as, "We've had some really good conversations so far. Thank you for allowing me to get to know you better. I've sketched up a web here of what seems to be the main areas that you might want to work on together. What do you think about these? Do you have a top 1 or 2 that you'd like to prioritize? Or is there something we haven't discussed yet that you think I could help with?" Once you've collaboratively identified your priorities for mentorship with your mentee, and you get more into explicit teaching of skills, more details on this later, another strategy to add to your routine is forming a session plan. If you're a teacher, you probably do this already when planning your classes. But for those whom this strategy may be new to, creating a session plan assists the mentor and mentee in their management of time in mentoring. It provides the opportunity to, again, support the mentee's autonomy by co-creating it at the start of the session. And the mentor may come with an idea of the plan for the session while being open to the mentee's feedback. A generic example of a session plan may include, first, spend the first 10 to 15 minutes checking in about their week, maybe during a walk or an activity of their choice. It can be hard to build and maintain a strong working relationship with a student you may only see once a week, so this gives you an opportunity to renew rapport with them and start a session on a positive note. In turn, doing so may set the stage to increase their participation in mentorship activities for the rest of your time together. Don't feel bad about spending time on rapport this way. As professionals, we can sometimes get caught up with the objectives and expectations we have in mind for the session and completing them all. But in mentorship, it's important to keep in mind that less is more and it's okay to take your time. Secondly, choose a goal to work on together. The mentee may have 1 to 3 ongoing goals at a time. Again, you can make a bubble sheet for this or just ask, "So we're working towards X, Y, and Z. Which one would you like to focus on today?" Third, complete the lesson or activity you prepared to work on the chosen goal. Depending on the skill, this may be a lesson, a role play, or a practice attempt elsewhere in the school. Last, plan the mentee's homework for the week, affirm what was achieved in the session, and conclude on a positive note. A more individualized example of a session plan might look like, first, checking in about the week over a game of air hockey in the resource room. Second, work on the mentee's goal of learning how to manage their time in a week. Third, complete the planned lesson. The mentee lists the homework and responsibilities they need to complete in the upcoming week, and when they have time in their schedule to do them, with guiding questions and feedback from the mentor. Last, review the mentee's homework for the week, affirm their participation and progress shown in session activities. Another guideline to consider when planning the goals for mentorship is the use of SMART goals. Again, this is not something that's unique to NBM, and many viewers are likely already familiar with them. But for those who may not be, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-sensitive. This example of a SMART goal shows how one of the generic objectives on our bubble sheet, going to class more, can be fleshed out into a SMART goal. Following those 5 criteria in the acronym, it was expanded to, by the end of this month, that's the T, I will consistently attend my core classes, there's the S and the R, with no more than 2 absences a month, and the M, allowing for the possibility of sick days, That's the A. Coming back to our agenda for this presentation, we've now covered the guidelines for the structure element. It's time to talk more about strategies for teach, evaluating what to teach, using behavioral skills training, and creating real-life opportunities to use new skills. Let's continue. Recalling the points on that bubble sheet from earlier, each one was worded very generically. Having reviewed the SMART goal-setting process, we know how to make each objective more detailed, but what about planning how the mentee will actually achieve it? For example, the mentee wants to work towards finding good friends. Now, think of the skills that doing so requires. Can they identify characteristics that might make somebody a good or a questionable influence? Are there peers they know of who share their interests? If not, do they know how to find them? Do they know how to initiate or accept connections with peers who are likely to be good influences? For example, by making plans outside of school or joining a club? Are they able to avoid or turn down interactions with questionable peers in a way that minimizes conflict? You could also ask them, is there anything else in this area they are unsure of how to approach? Gathering this information shows you what to teach them, so they have the skills to meet their goals. It can also point out ways in which you might advocate for your mentee on a systems level. For example, there may be limited clubs or social opportunities in the school that gauge the mentee's interests. If this is the case, it could be brought up at the next staff meeting that creating these opportunities within the school would benefit your mentee as well as other students. Another example, working towards managing strong feelings. Can they identify their own emotions and the reasons for them? Are they aware of the impulses their emotions may cause, such as swearing at a teacher when they get frustrated or getting into fights when provoked by peers? If they are aware of their impulses, are they able to stop and engage in a calming strategy that works for them? This may be removing themselves from the setting. Are they able to express their feelings appropriately and negotiate what they want or let it go? Perhaps teaching self-advocacy skills as an alternative to what they are currently doing could be beneficial. If the answer to any of these questions is a no, teaching these skills may be necessary. Another tool to consider when it comes time to teach skills is behavioral skills training, or BST. This is an evidence-based method of teaching hands-on skills, like vocational skills and social skills. It has been applied to professionals, children, people with disabilities, to which competency at the skill is gained. BST is a more active and hands-on way to teach than the traditional didactic approach and has been shown to achieve more efficient and durable results. There are 5 steps in the BST approach. These include 1, provide a written or verbal explanation of the skill. 2, demonstrate the skill for the student. 3, have the student attempt the skill. 4, provide feedback, first pointing out what they did right, and then offering comments on what can be improved. You can use ask, offer, ask for this part. And 5, repeat steps 3 to 4 until the student is independent. BST can be used to teach a variety of skills, but one example relevant to mentoring might be writing a cover letter for a job. To apply the steps of BST, first the mentor would describe or provide a rationale for the skill. When applying for a job, most positions request a cover letter. The cover letter is important because it allows you to describe your skills and interest in the open position in greater detail than your resume would. The cover letter needs to be about 1 written page and shouldn't have any spelling or grammar mistakes. Next, to model the skill, the mentor could simply show the mentee an example of a good cover letter and read it with them, or draft one in front of them. To rehearse, the mentor would then ask the mentee to write their own cover letter. This could be given as homework for mentoring or completed in the session. When the mentee has made their attempt, the mentor would provide feedback and revise the letter with them as needed. Remember your ask, offer, ask technique from the MI module. This would be another good time to use it. As needed, the mentee could continue to write and revise cover letters until the mentor can confirm that their work would be acceptable for potential employers. The last aspect of the teach element in this presentation will provide you with information about how to ensure that what the mentee learns in mentoring, they are able to use by themselves in their life outside of mentoring. Of course, this is our end goal, but making sure it happens needs to be supported from the start. We can't just hope for it. Mentors need to create opportunities for the mentee to use their new skills. This is because even if the mentee is demonstrating the skills you've worked on together, we can only say they're able to do it with you in the mentoring environment in which they are most comfortable. Additionally, we need to make sure they are able to use their skills with different people, in different places, and in different contexts. Some examples of creating real-world practice opportunities for your mentee include setting up a time to practice the rehearsed skill in its natural setting. For example, arranging a practice job interview with a real manager at an actual local business. Having the mentee practice the skill in a variety of ways, such as by taking the bus to school, to their job, and to a recreational setting in the community, if that's a skill you are working on with them. Having the mentee use their skills in a variety of contexts. For example, planning to negotiate or advocate for themselves with a teacher, a peer, and their foster parents. When possible, mentors may communicate with people in the mentee circle that the mentor will be practicing this new skill. This will increase the likelihood that others respond favorably to the mentee's new skills and that the mentee keeps using them. This has been the module on the structure and teach elements of NBM. I hope you found it helpful. For more resources, you may choose to explore the links on the screen. Number 1 is the website of the Motivational Interviewing Network of Trainers, which will connect you to professionals near you who are proficient in MI. Number 2 is Dr. Alison Cloth's blog, where you can find the NBM manual. Thank you.